So hi everybody, today on YouTube I want to show you how to make some cuts around posts. And I've shown you individual cuts around posts I know in the past. You can reference those. But today I'm trying to show you the entire inside cuts of a wing chair. So let's see if I can do it, because I have to jump ahead steps. Don't focus so much on the fabric that's loose on there, because that's not the focus of this video. The focus of the video is how to make the cuts around the posts. So the first thing is the seat, but I just want to show you what we're trying to do here, we're trying to achieve. I mean, it looks pretty messy, doesn't it, guys? I mean, but what I'm trying to do is I have to cut around this post, this horizontal post number 1, horizontal post number 2, horizontal post number 3, vertical post is number 1 vertical post, that's the only one, and then horizontal 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. So there's a lot going on in here, and they need to be cut properly, so I want to show you the right way to do that. So I'm going to start on the seat, which happens to be one of the easier cuts. Okay, we're cutting around that vertical post, right? So you almost have to be somebody that's looking beyond. What do they call that? Somebody you have to really use your imagination. You can look first, and then I know some people can't put an image in their head. So for those who can't, you can stick your finger in here and feel the post. Be careful when you do that, because you don't want any staples or anything, or tacks or pins. But you can get a reading on how far back the post is by using your finger or trying to stick a ruler in there. But if you have the ability to imagine that post, that's really good. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut this. Let's just fold this back so you can see. And I'm going to bring this chip up so you can see. Okay, so this first cut is the seat. After this is, you have this secured front and back. And then this is a 90 degree, hold on, sorry, 90, yeah, 90. And this was 45, right? That doesn't always happen. It's not quite 45. It's probably more like, it is a 45 degree angle, but it's not squared up on the folded piece of fabric. Don't get mixed up like that. So it's better to think in degrees, if this makes sense. I hope I'm not confusing you guys, than it is to go with the fold of the fabric. Because if I'm just going with degrees and evening it up, I'm starting right here. You notice I tried to start there, right? Even I did it, right? So the object here is to get an equal amount of fabric on both sides of the post. So I don't want to cut it all the way. I'm back probably about 2 inches from the surface area, not from the post, because the cut has to travel to the post. Let's see how well I did. I'm just going to stick that in there. That feels good. Let me just show you. So ideally, after you cut, you would like to see almost the ends meeting out in space in an even way for that particular cut. Okay? Let's bring it back. The front cut on here, should be able to see this a little better on the seat. We're folding this, we're trying to get this at an even fold if we can, right? And we take a note of our post right here. And now what I want you to do on these cuts is, because you need some work in this area, I want you just to angle the cut this way towards the inside of the chair. Push that in, but not all the way, and then you have to have a second cut. That second cut is just to loosen the fabric up in order for you to come this way. But we're not worried about pleats or anything on this video. I just want to show you cuts. So you see how nice that comes through. Right. So that whole side is done except for the front. Okay, now we're going to go on this one here. We're going to go to the back, and the reason we're going to the back first is because of the post system here. The post is set up so the fabric's coming through the sides here, through the outside wings and the outside arms. Normally they come this way. If they come this way, it's the inside arm, the inside wing that gets done first. Okay, so let's go to the back. The bottom of the back first. I know this is hard to see, guys. Okay, so it's really important to get your fabric prepped up before you do the cutting. Now in your mind's eye, you're cutting around that, you see that horizontal post behind the padding about 2 or 3 inches, right? So here's a really good tip. For some reason, people always want to start cutting on the bottom. Your best bet is to start cutting from the top, and there's a series of 3 cuts here. So the top of the post, and I'm backing off about, on this one here, I'm backing off about 1 inch this way. And then the second cut represents the thickness, almost the thickness of the post, the horizontal post. Then a third cut, the third cut comes in here, and it does 2 things. It's going to allow you to pull your cover through to the outside, and also really important is it gives you a tail section. Okay, and you want to trim that tail section down just a little bit. Okay, and the first thing I want you to do is take that tail section and run it through so that it comes out this way. Okay, and then we're going to go back here just to look at this and see what we got here. See how we did. Okay, now I want the camera, if the camera can focus in right in here. Can you see that? You give this tilt, not a hard pull, just a little pull. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that wonderful? That's what we call a beautiful transition in there. Beautiful. Okay, now we have to go up the cut, up the chairs in order to cut the rest. Now I'm not focusing on stretching fabric here. I don't want people to use this video. I want you just to use my other videos where I show you how to pin tack and to get the fabric in proper, but that's not what I'm doing here. I'm actually just showing you with some scrap fabric of what the cuts are, okay? I'm not going to get into the stretching and anything. There's plenty of videos, my videos that show you that, not many that show you the cutting. So now I have a post that's this wide, my finger width, right? Like that, you see it? I'm going to come to the middle, and then I'm going to come down this way, and then up this way. Let's see how good we can there. So I'm ready to pull through the outside arm, fabric through the outside arm in the bottom of this area here. Okay. Now we're going to make this cut. And that's a smaller post, you guys, so you don't need as big a cut as I made down here. I'm going to come to the middle and just make a wide cut, they call this. I'm trying to do this so you can see it too. So normally I'm not positioned like this. I'm struggling because I want to show you. Okay, we got a couple more cuts up at the top so that this fabric comes freely through, and we got a bigger horizontal post right here. I'm going to bring this down, try to show you close up. Let's see if I can help out the cameraman, woman. Bring this back. Prepping is everything, right, you guys? And that cut, notice the angle cut. And then this is going to require a second cut in order to make our pleat up at the top, just to loosen the cover, right? And also a little trim. Okay, just trim that, and I'm going to show you this. So I'm bring this down to show you. See, the advantage of having a small wing chair is that I can turn it like this to show you guys. With the bigger pieces, it's really hard to do this. So we're just going to tuck this in. This is an extra piece that we don't need. Might require just a little bit more of a cut. So, good demonstration of it's always better to undercut than overcut, right guys? I'm going to fold this out a little bit more, a little cut more, a little trim more maybe, and even the pleat we can give a little bit of a trim. Now we're talking. And this is going to be pleated. I don't want to ever see you guys upholstering like I'm trying to upholster to show you guys in a very strange position here. But There we go. We were too lazy to set our overhead up today. And that's going to be, I don't like the way that's working in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, just want to show you. So it's going to be a nice pleat like that. Let me just bring this back up. While I have your attention, I think I'm going to show you, demonstrate the arm cuts too. Like I said, this is a scrap fabric that we have here. And just to show you the cuts, we're not putting any cotton on, just because that putting batting and cotton on just really adds to the mystery. That's why I'm not doing it. I'm just showing you the cuts. The more you get cotton in here or Dacron, you hide the points of the cuts more effectively, and you really have to use your imagination to make the cuts. This way here, we can show you, and hopefully you'll be able to see these better, because I know they're really hard to show. They were really, when I teach, they're really hard to teach cuts to people too. And I think part of it is the anxiety that people, spend a lot of money on their fabric, and they're afraid of making a mistake because they're cutting. And I guess in all fairness, it is easy to make a mistake, because I'm just going to staple a little bit up here. I'm going to bring this down and just tighten, just to keep it stationary while we make our cuts, and just get one staple in here, that's it. Okay, so the interesting thing about the back cuts here are the same almost as the seat. Okay, so what you're doing is you're folding your fabric, or the inside back. Sorry, the inside back. So I'm folding my fabric. I'm going to cut to the top of that post. Stuff a little bit in there, and then I'm going to cut to the bottom, and then a third cut, and that does two things. It makes my tail, and it pulls the fabric this way. I don't know if you're seeing that, but really hard to show you guys these cuts. Really hard. But I hope you're getting something out of this. I'm trying to make sure my pattern is straight there. So on the front, I do want to point something out. Sometimes, like in this case, fabric is pulled in such a way that you could very easily misread this cut. So what I see a lot of people doing, first of all, if you're a right-handed person, it's easy to come this way just because it's easier. It's always better to come this way as a right-handed person. I'm actually showing you this way because the camera angle is better, but it almost requires you to be a contortionist to make this cut, because you have to start way over here. Look at my arm. If you're left-handed, you're coming in this way. So it's one of the problems that we're faced with, okay? If this was a bigger chair and it didn't move, or I couldn't get over it like this, which is often the case, then you're in front of the chair and you're really trying to go like this to make the proper cut. But the proper cut here, because the fabric is pulled in such a way, is from here. So remember what I said about visualize the angle first. Disregard the angle of the fabric, I guess, is a good policy first, but do prep it. But try to concentrate on the angle that you want and what you're trying to achieve. Okay, and what you're trying to achieve here is a lot of fabric on this side in order to make this pleat down here. Okay, so if you come this way and cut this way, you don't have enough fabric for the pleat, right? So keep that in mind. I hope that explains it. It's really hard to explain too. So let me just pull over here to show you. Here's the post that we're cutting around. Bring it this way, and now look where I am, you guys. I'm over here, and I'm starting at this angle because I want plenty of fabric here. I don't care if I don't have enough fabric in this area. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to make a pleat in that area. So keep that in mind. And if you don't want to use a good fabric, or you use scrap fabric, practice your pleats. I suggest practice on a fabric that you don't care about. Okay, so that gets that one cut, and then a second cut just to ease the pleat to the front of the chair. That relieves the fabric a little bit, and you could even, there's so much fabric that you can trim it a little bit, and then you can pleat this pleat this transition area on the seat will not be pleated, but this will be the finish or the pleat that comes over, because it's always better to have a pleat going down than it is coming up. Does that make sense? So there you have it. That's most of the cuts in a wing chair right there. So you have 1, 2, 3. There were like 4 cuts on the back, and a little different system where the fabric's coming through the side. So instead of the back, right? So I hope that was a help, you guys. It's really, it's from a teaching standpoint, this has always been the hardest thing to teach. You can imagine having 10 or 12 people in a class at a time, and you have like 3 or 4 people who are doing all these different cuts, and you have to really calm them down, because this is where mistakes do happen. But like I said, if you want, just take some fabric and practice with it. And remember, it's only fabric. If you do make a mistake, it's not brain surgery. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.